Somewhere along the line, lion's mane mushroom stopped being just a mushroom. It became a promise that your brain could work faster, that your memory could sharpen, that your anxiety could disappear, that you could finally unlock the version of yourself that always feels slightly out of reach. And now, people pour it into coffee every morning like it's liquid intelligence. It's in gummies, powders, capsules, energy drinks, even expensive brain stacks sold by people who swear the strange white mushroom changed their entire life. But here's the strange part. Most people talking about lion's mane only know one tiny piece of the story. Because this mushroom isn't just connected to memory, it's connected to nerve repair, inflammation, the immune system, the gut, mood, aging, and maybe even something much bigger hiding underneath all of it.
Australian scientists have discovered an edible mushroom capable of boosting nerve growth and even enhancing memory.
For centuries, people in parts of Asia treated lion's mane less like food and more like medicine. Monks reportedly used it, traditional healers studied it, and long before Silicon Valley biohackers started mixing mushroom powder into smoothies, people believed this thing could affect the body in ways science didn't fully understand yet. Now, modern researchers are racing to figure out whether they were right. And the deeper scientists dig into lion's mane, the weirder the story gets because this mushroom may not work the way most people think it does. And to understand why so many people became obsessed with it in the first place, we need to start with the thing everyone keeps talking about: the brain. When people hear lion's mane, they usually think of one thing: brain health, focus, memory, mental clarity. That's the entire reason millions of people started taking it. And honestly, there's actually a reason for the hype, because lion's mane contains compounds that scientists think may help stimulate something called nerve growth factor. That sounds complicated, but the idea is simple. Your brain survives because neurons constantly communicate with each other. And nerve growth factor helps keep those cells alive. It helps them grow, repair, and connect. Without enough of it, the system starts breaking down. That's one reason diseases involving memory loss become so terrifying, is because the communication slowly fades. But researchers discovered something strange. Certain compounds found inside lion's mane mushrooms, called haricinones and erinacines, appeared to stimulate these growth pathways. In lab studies, scientists observed nerve cells growing longer extensions and forming more connections. Some animal studies even showed improvements in memory and learning. And suddenly, lion's mane exploded online because people heard one sentence: "This mushroom may help grow brain cells." That's the kind of sentence the internet turns into mythology. But here's where things start getting messy. A lot of the strongest evidence still comes from lab and animal studies. Human studies exist, but they're smaller and more limited, and scientists are still trying to figure out exactly which compounds are responsible for the effects. That nuance usually disappears online. On social media, lion's mane became less of a mushroom and more of a superpower. People claimed it gave them photographic memory, perfect focus, unlimited productivity. Some said it unlocked their brain. Others said it changed their personality. And this is where the story starts splitting into two worlds: the world of actual science and the world of internet obsession. Because while everyone focused on cognition, researchers quietly found something else that might be even more important: inflammation. Most people think of inflammation as swelling, a twisted ankle, a cut, something obvious. But there's another kind, the slow kind, the invisible kind, the kind linked to aging, brain fog, fatigue, and disease. And scientists started noticing that lion's mane might interact with it in surprising ways. Inside your body, inflammation acts like an alarm system. Short-term inflammation can save your life, but when the alarm never shuts off, that's when problems begin. Researchers studying lion's mane found compounds that appeared to reduce inflammatory responses in certain cells in animal models. Some studies showed reduced markers connected to oxidative stress. Others suggested the mushroom may help protect cells from damage. And that matters because inflammation doesn't just affect your muscles or joints, it affects your brain too. There's growing evidence that chronic inflammation may play a role in cognitive decline, mood disorders, and neurodegenerative disease, so some scientists think lion's mane may help the brain indirectly. Not by magically making people smarter, but by protecting the environment the brain depends on. And suddenly the mushroom starts looking less like a focus supplement and more like a system-wide regulator, but that's a completely different conversation. Because once researchers started looking beyond cognition, they found lion's mane interacting with something else people almost never associate with mushrooms: the gut. And what scientists discovered there might explain why some people say lion's mane affects not only how they think, but how they feel. There's a reason your stomach reacts when you're nervous, a reason anxiety can make people physically sick, and a reason stress changes digestion. Your gut and brain are constantly talking to each other. Scientists call it the gut-brain axis, and it's one of the hottest areas of research in modern health science, because your gut isn't just digesting food, it's connected to immune signaling, hormones, mood, even neurotransmitters. Some researchers estimate that huge amounts of serotonin production are linked to the gut. So when the gut changes, the brain often changes with it, and lion's mane appears to interact with this system too. Studies suggest the mushroom may support healthy gut bacteria and help protect the lining of the digestive tract. Historically, lion's mane was also used in traditional medicine practices for stomach-related issues, and that part rarely makes it into modern marketing because brain mushroom sells better than digestive support fungus. But the gut connection may actually be one of the most important parts of the story. Some researchers now believe inflammation in the gut can influence inflammation in the brain, meaning the systems aren't separate at all, but they're connected, which creates a strange possibility. What if some people feel mentally better after taking lion's mane because the mushroom is affecting the body first, not just the brain directly? That could explain why experiences vary so much from person to person. Some people report feeling calmer, more emotionally balanced, more clear-headed, while others feel almost nothing. And a few people claim the opposite, which opens up another side of the lion's mane conversation that gets extremely controversial online. If you search lion's mane online long enough, you'll notice something weird. Half the internet talks about it like a miracle, while the other half talks about it like a warning. And there are entire communities filled with people who swear lion's mane transformed their life. Better focus, sharper memory, improved mood, more energy. But there are also people claiming the mushroom caused strange side effects: brain fog, fatigue, mood changes, emotional numbness. Some of these stories get dramatic fast, and this is where things become difficult because anecdotes are powerful. But anecdotes are not the same thing as controlled scientific evidence. The human brain is extremely complicated. People stack supplements together, change diets, change sleep habits, change caffeine intake, and then try to trace every feeling back to one single mushroom. That's almost impossible. At the same time, scientists still don't fully understand all the active compounds inside lion's mane, or how different extraction methods affect the body. Not all supplements are the same. Some use only the fruiting body, some use mycelium, some are heavily processed, some barely contain the compounds people are actually looking for. That means two people can buy lion's mane and essentially take completely different products. And when you combine hype, biology, placebo effects, marketing, and internet storytelling, you get chaos. But maybe the strangest thing about lion's mane isn't the arguments online, it's the fact that this mushroom existed for centuries before modern wellness culture discovered it. And the people who originally used it weren't trying to become productivity machines, they believed it connected to something deeper. Long before podcasts started calling lion's mane a nootropic, people already viewed mushrooms differently. In many traditional cultures, mushrooms were mysterious. They appeared overnight, they grew from decay, some healed, some poisoned, some altered perception entirely. They felt almost supernatural, and lion's mane was one of the strangest looking mushrooms of all. Instead of a normal cap and stem, it grows in long white tendrils that look almost like frozen waterfalls. Or fur. That's how it got its name. Lion's mane. But it has other names too. Bearded tooth or monkey head mushroom. For centuries, it appeared in traditional East Asian medicine and cuisine. Some historical accounts suggest Buddhist monks used it during meditation practices. Whether every internet claim about that is true is hard to verify, but the symbolism stuck. A mushroom associated with calmness, focus, longevity, mental clarity survived all the way into the modern world. And maybe that's why people became emotionally attached to lion's mane so quickly, because it fits perfectly into a modern fantasy. The idea that nature already created the thing we're missing. A natural answer to burnout, brain fog, distraction, and stress. A mushroom that helps reconnect the mind and body. That story is emotionally powerful. Maybe too powerful. Because once wellness companies realized how badly people wanted that story to be true, lion's mane stopped being a niche mushroom and became an industry. Walk into almost any health store now and you'll see it. Lion's mane coffee, lion's mane chocolate, lion's mane capsules, powders, shots, drink mixes, even skincare. The mushroom market exploded. And not just because of science, but because of culture. Modern life made people desperate for optimization. Everyone wants more focus, more energy, better memory, better sleep, less anxiety, and less brain fog. But companies realized mushrooms could be sold as a natural shortcut. The branding practically writes itself. Ancient wisdom, modern neuroscience, nature meets performance. It sounds incredible. And to be fair, some of the research around lion's mane genuinely is exciting. Scientists are actively studying its potential role in nerve regeneration, inflammation, metabolic health, and cognitive support. That part is real, but commercial hype moves much faster than science, and that's why some products promise things no study has ever proven. And once enough money enters the picture, nuance disappears. Nobody wants to hear early research suggests possible benefits, but more large-scale human trials are needed. They want, this mushroom upgrades your brain. That's what sells. But maybe the most interesting part of the entire lion's mane story is this. Even after all the hype, scientists still think we may only understand a fraction of what mushrooms are actually doing because fungi themselves are unbelievably strange. Mushrooms are closer to an alien life form than most people realize. They breathe oxygen, build massive underground networks, break down dead matter, and communicate chemically with ecosystems. And somehow, certain species also appear capable of interacting with the human body in ways researchers are still trying to map out. Lion's mane may be one of the best examples of that mystery, not because it's magic and not because it's fake, but because it exists in that uncomfortable middle ground where science, history, biology, marketing, and human hope all collide. Yes, there's promising evidence behind its effects on nerve growth, inflammation, and cognitive health, but there's also exaggeration, hype, confusion, and a lot we still don't know. Maybe that's why people are so fascinated by it, because lion's mane represents something bigger than just a supplement. It represents the possibility that the natural world still contains things we barely understand, that somewhere inside forests, dead logs, and strange white mushrooms hanging from trees, there are compounds capable of changing the way our bodies function. And whether lion's mane eventually becomes remembered as a breakthrough, an overhyped trend, or something in between, one thing is already true. Most people thought it was just a brain mushroom. It turns out, the story was much bigger than that.